Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to the Week 7 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and Michael Bullock. And not going to waste any more time here. Let's dive right on in. Week number 7 of the NFL kicked off last night at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. It was the number 2 game of the week on our side of the ledger, and boy, howdy, it lived up to the hype. Our game of the week, you got a tough act to follow, let me tell you. It featured the Jacksonville Jaguars squaring off against the New Orleans Saints on Amazon Prime Video. Of course, the Fox affiliate for the people of Jacksonville, the NBC affiliate for the people of New Orleans. At the end of the night, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they built up a big lead early. They had like a 24-9. They had a 24-9 lead after 3 quarters. But then in the fourth quarter, the Saints exploded, but it was not enough as Jacksonville held off New Orleans by a score of 31-24. Trevor Lawrence was 20 of 29, 204 yards, and a touchdown, no interceptions. He also led the team with 59 yards rushing, but it was Travis Etienne, 53 yards rushing, and had two rushing touchdowns here. Christian Kirk led the team with 90 yards receiving. He had a touchdown as well. Our defense recorded only 1 sack. It was Smoot. And Olakon had the 1 interception for Jacksonville as well. Derek Carr, 33 of 55, 301 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Alvin Kamara, 153 all-purpose yards. 62 yards rushing, 91 yards receiving. Taysom Hill had a rushing touchdown. Michael Thomas, a receiving touchdown. Defense did nothing. They had no sacks or no interceptions or anything of that nature. But the Jacksonville Jaguars defeat the New Orleans Saints 31-24. Jacksonville improves to 5-2 on the season. New Orleans drops to 3-4. Next week, Jacksonville will be in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Good one there. And the New Orleans Saints will be in Indianapolis to take on the Colts. So that's the story from that. Another big win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe they've now won 4 games in a row now. They're in the midst of a 4-game winning streak. They have first place in the AFC South, and they stumbled out of the gates, yes. And I know there were a lot of people that were thinking, oh, one year wonder, same old Jags, blah blah blah. But it took them a while for them to get cooking, and well, they've won 4 in a row now. Of course, we can't forget about it was the trip to London, the back-to-back weeks in London. You know, they got their mojo back when they knocked off the Atlanta Falcons. But of course, what really did it for them was that monumental win over my Buffalo Bills at Tottenham Hotspur a couple of weeks ago. And they have not looked back ever since. I mean, easy win against Indianapolis. It looked like they were going to have an easy win against New Orleans, but New Orleans made a game a bit late, but Jacksonville found a way. And now this team is looking like that Jaguar team that we all remember. They stumbled out of the gate last year, and then they came on red hot at the absolute end. Came all the way back. They started out very slowly and somehow, some way managed to win the AFC South, win a playoff game. They were down big in that game against the Chargers, came all the way back and won that game. And then they took the Kansas City Chiefs to the limit in the divisional round. And yet here they are. So I know right now when it comes to the AFC, all the hoopla is about Kansas City, Miami, Buffalo, Baltimore, maybe even Cincinnati. Looks like Cincinnati's gotten their mojo back. We'll get into them in a little bit, but nonetheless, if there's a team to watch for in the AFC, watch out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This team could make if they keep playing like they are right now, we might be talking about them in January. This is a team that we need to start taking seriously, and a team that we need to start putting some respect on their name. So big win for Jacksonville last night, 4 in a row, off to Pittsburgh next week. So, and for New Orleans, well, Another tough luck loss for them. I mean, they had a tough luck loss in Houston, and now a tough luck loss here, and now they got to go to Indianapolis. So, see what happens with that. But for right now, not much more for me to say. Girl MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in, right on cue. Like I said, AFC, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Kansas City, oh, Miami, oh, Buffalo, maybe Baltimore, maybe Cincinnati. Where's Jacksonville in this conversation?
Yeah, and I think Jacksonville has now made themselves very dangerous in the AFC, and a lot of people kind of this was the Jaguar squad that I think a lot of people thought we were going to get, and it never came to fruition until now. And now all of a sudden, the Jaguars are looking like that team that everybody believed was going to be one of the major threats. And as interesting as it may be, many people thought that maybe the Jaguars was going to be one of the teams towards the very end who could be a Super Bowl representative, who could be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Well, it took them a little bit of some time to get under it, and all of a sudden now we are indeed talking about the Jaguars as a Super Bowl contender because of what they've been doing. So it was a great win for them, no doubt about it. And we'll wait and see how it plays out. So yeah, really nothing more to add, Michael Bullock. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time. It's time we put some respect into the Jacksonville Jaguars name because, I mean, like you said, Florio, everybody's saying, "Oh, it's all Kansas City, Miami, Buffalo, Cincinnati." I mean, where's Jacksonville's name in all of this? But after what we've seen from them, especially after last night, we maybe it's high time we definitely put some respect into their name. Yeah, a nice win for them, and yeah, New Orleans did make a game a bit late, but like you said, it was too little, too late. So yeah, so nice win for Jacksonville, and yeah, I mean Jacksonville is definitely a team to keep an eye on in the AFC, and then like you said, they get the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, and then of course whatever you think Jacksonville and Pittsburgh guys, you got to think about the 2017 divisional playoff matchup. I mean, where
Unbelievable.
Jack where Jacksonville went in and stunned the number 2 seed Pittsburgh Steelers,
High
only to
scoring
lose to
affair.
the
What a shootout.
yeah yeah. Everybody was thinking, oh, Jacksonville can't match Pittsburgh point for point. Well,
They
they
did.
proved the doubt wrong, and they did, only to eventually lose to the Patriots the following week in the AFC Championship game. Maybe they're starting to look like that team that went to the AFC title game in 2017. Could they be the ones to maybe finally get to the Super Bowl? Because here's the thing, guys, they've been close many times before. I mean, yeah, I mean, and two of those times were against the New England Patriots in 1990. I think it was 96, and then of course, like I just mentioned in 2017. Could this be the time they get over it? We'll just have to wait and see as the season progresses. So, with that being said, let's move on to the rest of the slate.
And we started off with the game of the week on the Fox side of the ledger. What a good one here. We got the Detroit Lions squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. 1:00 game over on Fox with the A team, Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi. Baltimore opening up as a 3-point favorite. Baltimore leads the all-time series 5-1. And Baltimore has won the last 4 meetings in a row against the Lions. The last meeting, we all remember it, 2 years ago, 2021 in Detroit. A game the Detroit Lions realistically should have won. But Justin Tucker said, nah, I'm just going to etch my name in the record books and kick a 66-yard field goal to win the game. He did. I mean, we're all still stunned 2 years later. But that's the last time they met. Their last meeting in Baltimore was in 2017. Baltimore won going away 44-20. Here's the thing, gentlemen. The Lions have only beaten the Ravens once, and that was back in 2005 in Detroit. Lions won the game 35-17. Every other time the Ravens and the Lions have met, the Ravens have won every time. The Lions have never won in Baltimore. 0-3 in Baltimore all time. So with that, let's kick off week number 7 with Fox's game of the week right here. In one of the marquee matchups of the week, Lions quarterback Jared Goff has the NFL's third best QBR, 81.5, when not pressured, throwing 9 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions. The Ravens are tied for the league lead with 24 sacks, getting a sack from an NFL high 11 players. Lions wide receiver Jamison Williams will score his second 35-plus yard touchdown reception, and the Lions will start 6-1 for the first time since 1956. Williams brings a different dimension to the already high-powered Detroit offense and scored a 45-yard touchdown at Tampa Bay last week in his second game back after serving a 4-game suspension for violating the NFL's gambling policy. Williams said, "I would say my confidence was already out the roof because that's how I think about myself. I think I'm the best. So as a boost, it maybe sent me from 100 to 150. Lamar Jackson is 15-1 in his career against NFC opponents, 7-0 at home, with the only loss coming last season at the New York Giants. His .938 win percentage versus the NFC is the best by any quarterback against the opposing conference since the 1970 merger, minimum of 5 starts. The X factor is Ravens right tackle Morgan Moses. He'll be charged with stopping Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson on Sunday. If he can do that, the task for Jackson and Baltimore's offense gets a heck of a lot easier. Even with Hutchinson, the Lions rank 31st in pass rush win rate, in part because Hutchinson tends to win later in the rush. The Ravens defense has given up the 7th fewest fantasy points a game to wide receivers. In addition, Baltimore's defense has allowed only 5.8 yards per reception, a league low which could position Lions tight end Sam Laporta and running back Jahmyr Gibbs for a ton of catches. The Lions are 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 road games. However, Baltimore is the FPI favorite. 54% going with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm rooting for the Detroit Lions. One, because of for quite a few reasons. First and foremost, all of the hard time, all the snake bites this franchise has had. All those losing years in the whole 9 yards, and we never hear about this team doing anything good. Another reason, of course, it happens to be the favorite team of my older brother Nick, and he is, as we all know, it was well documented on this show last week. MF and I talked about it. My older brother is a Detroit Lions fan, and the main reason why he's a Lions fan is because of one man, the man who wore number 20. You may have heard of him, Barry Sanders. Last time I checked, I heard he was pretty good. So, but for those couple of reasons, and for their fans and everything else, I'll be honest, I would love to see Detroit win this game. I really do, and I kind of want them to. Honestly, I mean, it's so awesome to see this team doing so well after all these years, and I'm the one who bought into the hype of this team. These guys had some doubts here and there, but I'm the only one who believed in this team enough. When we did our preview show, I said this team was going to win the division. I still believe they will. But at the end of the day, as much as I want Detroit to win this game, and I really do, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens, though. Mainly because of that stat. Lamar Jackson, 15-1 against AFC opponents in his career. Perfect 7-0 at home. And Detroit's number 1 in Baltimore. They've only beaten the Ravens once. And that was 18 years ago. I'm sorry. I mean, I want Detroit to win. I really do. But I got to go with the Baltimore Ravens here. Final score, 27-24. Baltimore beats Detroit. but I would not be surprised if Detroit were to somehow steal this one in Baltimore. That would be something else. So, chance to start 6-1 for the first time since 1956. That's something. But I got to go with Baltimore, though. Sorry. So, not much more to say here. MF, Detroit, Baltimore. Game of the week on the Fox side. When was the last time Detroit had a game of this magnitude?
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a very long time. Look, I think you brought it up, and I think you even said it. What Detroit has done has been remarkable. I don't think a lot of people really thought that they were going to be as good as they are. Um, Look, after what happened last season, especially towards the end of the year, Detroit was one of the hottest teams in the NFL. But Baltimore has had this story or this look about them that makes them so unique and so good. And you think that maybe they have an opportunity to really do something special here, and maybe they do. I mean, what the Ravens have done up to this point has been very well, done all right up to a certain degree. But now the question becomes, can they take that next step? Can they really, really be that dominating force? We don't know for sure. Um, at the end, it could go a number of different ways, no doubt. But I mean, I kind of feel like what the Ravens has done, yes, they're probably going to be the favorite going in.
Did we just lose Fletch?
The same thing happened last night during the College Football Thursday show. Um, MF was giving his thought, and then all of a sudden you don't hear him. So yeah, I think he's having another issue. So that's what it sounds like to me. So while we wait for MF to get his and now we lost Bullock. Oh, Bullock must have hit the wrong button, I'm guessing. So
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now, MF. Okay.
All right. So I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna say that I do have Baltimore winning, but I'm not as convinced either. I'm not as 100% about this more than anything else. So Ravens win, but not as confident. Florio, what's yours?
While we wait for Bullock, MF, one quick question that I should have asked. We just mentioned it about Jacksonville in the AFC. All the hoopla about Miami, KC, Buffalo, and all them.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same thing with Detroit in the NFC. I mean, all the hoopla in the NFC is about San Francisco, Philadelphia. Rightly so. I get it. But what about Detroit? And what if Detroit wins this game? Then we need to take them seriously.
Well, I think people are already been taking them seriously, especially after what they've been doing up to this point. But the problem is that yes, Detroit's been winning, but who have they really beaten? Now, honestly and openly, you can say that they won that first game against Kansas City, but remember, there was no Travis Kelce. Right. Can you say definitively if Kelce was on the field, if Chris Jones was not on the field, do we get that same outcome? I disagree.
I don't know.
I don't think we would. I think
Probably
KC would have won that game. So I mean, you have to think about it that way. So this is a major test for Detroit. This is a make or break moment for the Detroit Lions. This will tell us, are you truly a Super Bowl contender, or are you just good but not there yet? You still got more work to do. We'll find that out on Sunday. Bullock, welcome back. It's yours.
Yeah, for some reason, I eventually got kicked off, so I don't know what happened there. But um, who did Fletch go with?
He went with Baltimore. He went with Baltimore as well. So are you going to make it unanimous, or are you going to take a chance on Detroit to pull off what would be their biggest win in forever and a day?
Oh, this is a very tough one. I mean, look, I like what I've seen from Detroit this season. They are, they're picking up right where they left off from the end of last season. But Baltimore is the one of the big teams. I mean, can they somehow do it? Uh, Man, this is tough for me. But you know what? With all the crazy things that has happened this season, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take a chance, and I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions to go in and beat the Baltimore Ravens. It's gonna be a close one. I think they win this one by a field goal. So, and since I'm the only one that's going with the Detroit Lions here, you know what time it is. Ow! Lone Wolf time, baby. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. So, yeah, there is absolutely no doubt about that one. So, okay. So with that, we move on to our next matchup. MF will start it off. It will feature the Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Chicago Bears from Soldier Field in Chicago. You can find this game over on Fox, and on the call for this game will be Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman. And just trying to find it in my notes here. Las Vegas opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Series history tied 8-8. They met 2 years ago in Las Vegas, and Chicago won the game 20-9. They also met in London in 2019. Raiders won 24-21. Last meeting in Chicago was 2015. Chicago won 22-20. The Raiders have not won in Chicago since 1993. When they were, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they were the Los Angeles Raiders at that time. So that's the last time they won in Chicago. 16-14, the final there. So not much more to say on this. MF, Raiders at 500. They barely got by Bullock's Patriots last Sunday. And the Bears somehow could not defeat the Minnesota Vikings. We thought the Vikings losing Justin Jefferson would help them, but unfortunately it did not. So with that being said, MF, come on in. Let's get your thoughts. You started off. Las Vegas Raiders against the Chicago Bears. Raiders with a win could go over 500. I mean, it's not often that this team is over 500 at this juncture of the season, but golden opportunity here.
Yes, indeed. And not only that, but the door is open now more than ever because of the fact that we just found out Justin Fields will not play. He is inactive. He will not go on Sunday for the Chicago Bears. That just crossed the wires about a short time ago that Justin Fields is out for the Bears. So that opens the door even more for the Raiders to win this game. Coming off a hard-fought victory over the New England Patriots, and I do believe they will get the job done. So, yeah, give me the Las Vegas Raiders to win the game. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, like you said, the Raiders barely got by the Patriots, and yeah, when it comes to the Bears, you thought with no Justin Jefferson, they had a chance against the Vikings, and they couldn't get it done. But like you said, Justin Jefferson, well, no, Justin Fields is going to be out with that injury, and I heard Jimmy Garoppolo might not play either because he sustained like a back injury from that game last week. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but in the end, I got to go with the Vegas Raiders to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. Whoop, it went up on me here. All right, just give me a moment here as I pull it back up. All right. There it is. Okay. Both teams' starting quarterbacks are dealing with injuries. Bears quarterback Justin Fields with a thumb. He was classified as doubtful against the Raiders for confirmation that he will be out. Neither has the Raiders' Jimmy Garoppolo, who has a back injury that kept him out of practice and will keep him sidelined in Week 7. Undrafted rookie Tyson Bagent will, he's going to get the nod here. Tyson Bagent will get the start for the Bears. For Vegas, it will either be rookie Aiden O'Connell or veteran Brian Hoyer. Rookie edge rusher Tyree Wilson will pick up his first career sack. True, Wilson has yet to record a QB hit and has only 6 pressures to go with a pass rush win rate of 5.6%. But the Bears have already given up 25 sacks, third most in the NFL. And Chicago will likely be starting an undrafted rookie quarterback who might hold the ball a bit longer than he should. Bagent will be the first quarterback from a Division II school to start an NFL game since John Kitna and Todd Bowman both did so in 2010. The X factor, Raiders running back Josh Jacobs and the Las Vegas running game. This unit ranks last in expected points added per design carry, and Jacobs has recorded minus 52 rush yards over expectation for NFL Next Gen stats. Just an average rushing game should help beat the Bears. The Bears have allowed 7.4 yards per passing play. You should have Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers in your fantasy lineup regardless who's playing quarterback for the Raiders. The Bears are 5-1 with overs this season, best of any team. On the flip side, Raiders are 5-1 with unders. But the FPI likes Chicago in this one, 56%. I'm not making the same mistake I made last week. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders to win this game. 27-13, the Las Vegas Raiders defeat the Chicago Bears. Moving on to our next game, Michael Bullock will start it off. It's our number 3 game of the week on our side of the ledger. Surprise matchup here. The Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Indianapolis Colts from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. On CBS with Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkibuela. And it is the Browns, Cleveland. Cleveland opening up as a 3-point favorite. The series history, regular season, tied 15-15. Their last meeting was 2020 in Cleveland. Cleveland won 32-23, snapping a 3-game losing streak to the Indianapolis Colts. Their last meeting in Indianapolis was 2017. Indianapolis won 31-28. The Cleveland Browns have not won in Indianapolis since 2011. 27-19, the last time Cleveland won in Indianapolis. So with that being said, Michael Bullock, started with you. Number 3 game of the week on our side of the ledger, the Cleveland Browns coming off a huge win against the San Francisco 49ers. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts, yes, they have Jonathan Taylor back, but the thing is, their rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson, done for the season, and it's going to be Minshew mania from here on in.
Yeah. I mean that's a tough break for the Colts. I mean, their rookie sensation Anthony Richardson done for the season with a shoulder injury, that AC joint. I mean, it's so bad that they just had to do the surgery. So it's going to be Minshew mania for the rest of the season. But man, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, what can you say? They picked up a probably their biggest win of the season, handing the San Francisco 49ers their first loss of the season. I mean, and you know what? I expect that momentum for them to continue. So I am going with the Cleveland Browns to win this game. So it is yours, Florio.
Both of Cleveland's possible starting quarterbacks are very familiar to the Colts. Deshaun Watson, whose status is questionable because of a shoulder injury, played 6 games against Indy, while with AFC South rival Houston, throwing 8 touchdown passes and rushing for 2 more scores, while completing 70% of his attempts. His backup, P.J. Walker, entered the league with Indianapolis in 2017 and spent parts of 3 seasons bouncing between the Colts practice squad and active roster before moving on in 2019. The Browns defense will outscore the Colts offense in another dominant performance. Cleveland is top 5 defensively in almost every category, but turnovers. That changes in Indy, as the Browns will force the Colts into multiple miscues. The Browns have allowed 1,002 yards this season, the 3rd fewest through a team's first 5 games since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. The X factor? Colts running backs Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. Quarterback Gardner Minshew is not going to be able to pass the ball on the Browns, plain and simple. This game will come down to the Colts defense and if the Indianapolis running game can generate enough points on the ground. There are 11 teams this season that have allowed more than 1,000 yards to receivers. The Colts are one of them. Browns receiver Amari Cooper has had 8 or more targets and scored 15 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games, and should continue to be productive, whether Deshaun Watson or P.J. Walker is under center. The Browns are favored in a road game for the 2nd time this season, matching their total from each of the last 2 seasons combined. FPI likes Cleveland, 60% going with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns as well. 23-10, the Cleveland Browns defeat the Indianapolis Colts and keep their magical season going. So, I see we've lost MF again. We're hopeful of having him back up with us soon enough. I know MF's been having some major issues that, that as we all know, plagued him last night as well during College Football Thursday. Hopefully he'll be back up and running soon enough. But in the meantime, while we await his arrival, we'll move on to our next game, which is our number 5 game of the week. And for Michael Bullock and for myself, it's Buddy Bowl time. It's my Buffalo Bills squaring off against Michael Bullock's New England Patriots from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. The game can be seen over on CBS, and it will be Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn on the call. Buffalo opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. And I got it right here. Okay. New England still has a very lengthy series lead over New England. New England leads the all-time series 76-48 with a tie. Buffalo has won the last 4 meetings in a row against New England, including playoffs. And they've won, and Buffalo has won in New England each of the last 3 years. 24-10 was the final score last year. They met on a Thursday night on Amazon Prime Video last year. Buffalo won 24-10. The Patriots have not beaten Buffalo at home since 2019. 24-17. That's back when Tom Brady was obviously still with New England. And let's dive right on in. The Bills' 13 takeaways are tied for the 2nd most in the NFL, while the Patriots' 11 giveaways are tied for the 3rd most. New England coach Bill Belichick said, "Ball security is a top priority for us this week." The Patriots have just 3 takeaways on the season, as their -8 turnover differential is tied for last in the NFL. The Bills are tied for 10th with a +4 turnover differential. The Bills' defense will hold the Patriots to 7 points or fewer and grab a 5th straight win over the Patriots. New England is averaging 12 points scored per game, 2nd fewest, and ranks last in points per drive, 1.0, while the Bills have held opponents to just about 15 points a game, 3rd fewest. Also, the Bills' previous 4 wins over New England have all been by double digits. Bills quarterback Josh Allen has made a habit of tearing up the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. In 5 career road starts at New England, Allen has thrown 12 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions and posted an 83 total QBR. That's the 3rd highest road QBR by any quarterback against a single opponent since 2006 when the metric began. The X factor, Patriots cornerbacks Jonathan Jones and J.C. Jackson. New England's only prayer is to slow down the Buffalo passing attack and keep this a low-scoring game. The New York Giants showed last Sunday night it can be done, but it's going to take a strong performance from the Patriots secondary. The only team that allows a higher rushing yards per carry than the Buffalo Bills, 5.4, are the Denver Broncos, 5.6. With the Patriots' offensive line ranked 8th in run block win rate and getting healthier, New England's running game could have success against Buffalo. New England has failed to cover in 9 straight games as an underdog, tied for the second longest against the spread losing streak as an underdog in the Super Bowl era. The St. Louis Rams went 11 consecutive games as an underdog without covering spanning the 1995 to 96 seasons. Buffalo is an overwhelming FPI favorite, 82%, going with the Buffalo Bills. Of course, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win as well. My final score, I'm going to go 31-17. Buffalo defeats New England. I believe it'll be a get-right game for them. And now I've lost both of my esteemed colleagues here. They certainly must be having issues on their end. But major opportunity for Buffalo. Get-right game here, no question about it. And I mean, I'll tell you what, that game against the Giants took so many years off my life. I was just so nervous. I was freaking out during a lot of that game. And you heard it, when I was doing, when we were doing the special Sunday night edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. But that's a story for another. Well, there you go again. But but it was definitely nervous time when it came to Buffalo against the Giants. But I got a good feeling about this one. I think they can, get it right here. They can get back to their basics and they can take care of business against New England. So 31-17, Buffalo defeats New England. All right, MF, let's try her again. It seems like you and Bullock have been having some serious issues here tonight, and I'm praying for both of you. But nonetheless, MF, we got to catch you up. Cleveland, Indianapolis, your thoughts on that, and then your thoughts on Buffalo and New England.
Well, first off, about Cleveland and Indianapolis, I really don't think there's really much to talk about in this game. I feel like Cleveland's just the better team. And, after the Gardner Minshew situation, now that he has to take over for Anthony Richardson, I just feel like I just don't see much to talk about on that anymore. So I'm going to go with, I'm pretty comfortable enough to say that I think Cleveland's going to win that game. As far as Buffalo and New England goes, I wonder if Buffalo may have provided themselves a blueprint of how to handle the situation. Because truthfully and honestly, Buffalo was very lucky to win that game, especially against the New York Giants, where that game should have had no business being as close as it was. You didn't have the starting quarterback. You had a backup in Tyrod Taylor, and he almost stuck it to his old team. Like, that's how crazy this game was. Now, as far as New England goes, defensively, they can match up with Buffalo. They can. I think they can shut down the run attack because they got a good defensive core. And I do believe that the biggest problem that New England has is that if it turns into a shootout, into a high-scoring game, I just don't see them hanging with Buffalo. Buffalo can really put points and spurts and at multiple levels, and that's where the problem will lie at the end of the day. I believe, truthfully, Buffalo will win this game, but I disagree with your 31 to 14, like your 14-point spread. I think it's going to be a lot more closer than that. I got 27-17. Buffalo wins. But because this is New England, because this is Gillette, and because we know for a fact that Buffalo has had a difficult time playing in Gillette, this could be more interesting. So if the defense steps up and keeps Buffalo low scoring, that if this gets all the way to the very end, there might be a possible upset. So I believe Buffalo will win, but who knows? So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, if you're back, it's yours.
Oh yeah, I'm back. I'm back here. I mean, this has been tough times when it comes to the Patriots. I mean, they're sitting at 1-5, and you got the Bills and the Dolphins coming up. It's tough here, and you know what? I gotta go with Buffalo. I mean, they are the better team. I mean, New England could make it close, but in the end, I just think and like you said, Fletch, if it turns into a shootout, which I wouldn't be surprised if it did, New England's going to have some tough times. Now, there is one thing I want to address, and Florio, you know where I'm going with this because I addressed this with you earlier.
During our SmackDown chat, yes.
And I am calling out all these so-called experts. Yes, I'm talking to these people like you, Adam Jones, at WEEI, or host of that Jones and Mego on there. He said that the Patriots should tank, that they should lose all the rest of their games just so they can secure the number 1 pick. Do you think, guys, for 1 minute, that a Bill Belichick team should tank? Or do you think any team should lose on purpose?
No, absolutely not.
I know for a fact that it would be, if you're talking about as an idea, possible. However, obviously, that's not in the mindset of the players. That should never be in the mindset of a coaching staff to be tanking games at this point or at this juncture in a season.
Yeah, and even a season ticket holder said that he's rooting against the Patriots the rest of the way. And to all you guys who say that they should tank, you know what? You guys can go screw yourselves. Yes, screw you, Adam Jones. You no good piece of, well, you know what. And no professional team, as far as I'm concerned, they should tank. You should play, as Belichick would say, you play for 60 minutes. You play your absolute best. I mean, come on, Florio. Would you ever like to see your team tank?
If they were bad, no. I mean, even if you had the best college player in the world, whether he won the Heisman Trophy or not, absolutely not. It's like the great Herman Edwards always said: "You play to win the game." Hello.
Exactly. Somebody needs to tell Adam Jones and all those other people who are saying the Patriots should tank, because you play to win the game. You win, you win. If you lose, you lose. And another thing, and even my father brought this up to me earlier. You got guys on the Patriots who are going to be potential free agents. Just imagine how bad it's going to look for them if other teams are going to be like scouting them, saying, "Hey, they would look good on our team," but if they see them tanking, they're going to be like, hell, we ain't gonna have him on this team. So all this tanking, as far as I'm concerned, is complete and utter BS. To anybody to even suggest that is complete and utter nonsense. It's complete and utter BS as far as I'm concerned. And as a Patriots fan, I'm disgusted to hear that. Plain and simple. I mean, I don't know what else is there to say. So, to all the so-called experts out there who's saying they should tank, you can go screw yourselves. I'm done. I'm finished. Oh, go ahead, Fletch.
All right. Let me ask you a very important question. And I really want a clear-cut answer from you. Should New England consider firing Bill Belichick as an executive, not coach, but as an executive? Remember, he's also GM of the Patriots. Would you like to see a different general manager take the team? Or is this a package deal that if Belichick is not the GM, then the hell with it? And because now there's this question being thrown, and Stephen A. Smith brought this up on First Take, that if I'm Robert Kraft, I would give an ultimatum to Bill Belichick, saying, look, I'll keep you as the coach, but you must relieve yourself as general manager. Would you... Go ahead.
And I agree. I mean, if Robert Kraft, he should do this to Bill Belichick. I mean, look, we'll keep you as coach, but we need to have someone to be the general manager that can basically, when it comes to the draft and when it comes to scouting free agency. But if Belichick's basically like, no, I still want to be coach and GM, then Robert Kraft needs to say, look, if that's the way you're going to go, then I'm sorry to say this, but we need to move on from you, because we cannot have this continue on. I mean, look, it's worked before, but I think it's starting to lose its luster. We'll keep you as coach, but if you're going to say, no, I still want to be the GM, then we need to go our separate ways.
Okay. That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, for a guy who's brought New England success, if Belichick's not going to agree to only being the coach, if he still would rather be the GM, Robert Kraft needs to say, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm relieving you of your duties, and we'll go our separate ways. It pains for me to have to say that, but that's just the honest truth for me. What do you think, Fletch and Florio? Quick thought.
Well said.
I think, and like I said, he deserves the right to finish out as the head coach of the New England Patriots. I think, honestly and truthfully, he deserves the right to do that. As far as general manager goes, I'm sorry. He has done too many blunders, too many mistakes, too many bad drafting decisions, and too many guys that were not worthy of the contracts that they have gotten, that I believe that it's time for him to step down as GM. I feel like if you look at teams, and I'll even say it, look at the Miami Dolphins with Chris Greer and with Josh McDaniels and how great they've been. Hell, I'll even say look at the success that Buffalo has had. It's because they've had one coach and one GM, and together they've been able to maneuver around the league and have the success that they've been having. I think it's time that Buffalo goes in that direction. Now, how's that going to look? I don't know. Now, the question may be, who would be the perfect general manager to run the squad? I think that'll be the bigger, that's going to be a tougher question to answer. But at the end of the day, I feel like the time has come for some changes to be made in the front office of the New England Patriots.
And the other thing is, Fletch, and I'm still hearing this on radio. There are callers who are still saying they want to see Belichick completely gone. Not at the end of the season, but midway through this. I mean, right at this point of the season, because they are getting sick and tired of. I mean, they feel like he's lost his touch as both coach and GM.
I feel this is where I disagree, because I have to say I disagree with that, because of the fact that I can blame him. I can blame him for the managerial side. If you want to fire him as general manager of the New England Patriots, I agree with that. I feel as far as the coach goes, I disagree there, because I feel like his tenure has been amazing. As much as I despise Belichick, and I do, I would not want him to go out like that. I feel like he deserves the opportunity to stay on as the coach, and I feel like he has the right to say when the time has come for him to leave. To force him out because of a bad season that it's been, this is that argument I've had with Patriot fans that had me go in that epic rant. And that was that, what have you done for me lately type of culture. And I hope Robert Kraft does not fall into that trap. Because if Kraft does and fires Belichick mid-season, or, or forces Belichick out, that is going to be a horrible look for him as an owner for the New England Patriots. Because
and the thing is, Fletch, I mean, if he does that, that's what I call caving into the pressure of the fan base that said he should be gone.
Like I said,
that to me is wrong. He has every right to finish the season, and if people don't want to deal with that, then you know what I say to them? Watch something else. Because I'm not going to put up with this nonsense from these people who say, oh, Belichick should be gone mid-season or at some point during the season. No. Robert Kraft needs to finish the season with him. Then we'll see what happens after the season.
Now, if he decides to let him go after the season, now that's fair play. Fair game, fair play, but let him finish it out. Do not throw him out, at that
because
point.
Of the fan base.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If he goes, I already know a couple of teams that will pick him up right away. The New York Giants. The Giants are, I honest to God believe that they're getting ready to get rid of Brian Daboll. They're getting ready to get rid of him because what happened this season and what's happening right now with the Giants, he's lost that locker room. And we'll get into Giants a little bit later on.
Next.
Even better. So
So that's just the thing I wanted to get off my chest because I am starting to get sick and tired of hearing all this tanking, all this Belichick should be fired during the season. No, I needed to come out and address this and call out these people who say this nonsense.
And there you go. So, and like I said to you during our SmackDown chat, Bullock, it's definitely been a, oh, how the mighty have fallen when it comes to your New England Patriots. Once upon a time, you had the greatest dynasty. You'll probably forever have the greatest dynasty we'll ever see in NFL history. To go from that to this, I mean, yikes. That is, if that's not an, oh, how the mighty have fallen situation, a fall from grace, if you will. I don't know. But let's move on here, guys. That Buffalo New England game is the number 5 game of the week on our side of the ledger. We move on to the number 6 game on our side, and it is a cross flex game. A game you would normally see on Fox is on CBS. The Washington Commanders squaring off against the New York Giants from MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. On CBS, Andrew Catalan, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan, AJ Ross, and Washington opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. New York, however, leads the all-time series 105-70 with 5 ties. And last year in New York, they played to a 20-20 tie last year. Washington won in New York in 2021, 22-7. Giants beat Washington the year before, 2020. That was a 20-19 win. They tied there last year. So not much more to say here. I believe MF starts this one off, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yes, I do.
All right, MF. You said you wanted to get into the Giants. Get into them.
The way I feel that this is going to go is there's a lot of pure uncertainty about this team or everything else. Washington, not the best team, not the best looking, whatever you want to talk about. But let me tell you, man, this is going to be a very interesting situation. If Washington, I think, look, after the Daniel Jones situation and, what Brian Daboll did, especially after, certain situations, they literally lost this locker room. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the fact that now you got people talking about maybe Daniel Jones is not the answer, that maybe it's time to get rid of him. You got a quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. And look, I think it's interesting to hear that. Then you hear rumors that they might be trading Saquon Barkley. There's been rumors about that going around. So there's a lot going on here. And I don't know. I feel like Washington is a more complete team, even though they got their disarray moments and whatnot. I'm going to go with Washington to win. So I got really nothing more to say. Anthony, it's your Michael Bullock is yours.
All right, yeah. Now that I recovered from my little rant there, so now we can get back to the business of this. I mean, yeah, the Giants, it's just been a complete another disaster for them, especially after, even after what happened last season when they got to the playoffs and even to the divisional round. And to go from that to this, it's just not good for them. And like you said, maybe Daniel Jones is not the answer for them. And maybe Brian Daboll is not the guy. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Washington, to me, is the better team here. So I'm going to go with Washington to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
The Commanders are the one NFC East team the Giants have handled in recent years. In fact, New York's only division win and tie last season came against Washington. Over the last 5+ seasons, the Giants are 9-22-1 against the NFC East, including the playoffs. 6 of those 9 wins have come against Washington. A Commanders receiver will surpass 100 yards for the first time this season. Terry McLaurin has topped 100 yards 3 times in 7 career games versus New York, including once last season. Jahan Dotson's lone 100-yard game in his 2-year career occurred against the Giants in Week 15 last season. The Giants rank last in yards after the catch gained by opposing receivers and are 20th in yards gained per catch. The Giants have gone 3 straight games without an offensive touchdown, their longest streak since 1976, when they did it in 4 straight. No team has gone 4 straight games without an offensive touchdown since the 2008 Cleveland Browns. The X factor is Commanders edge rusher Montez Sweat. Sweat has just an 8% pass rush win rate at edge, which ranks 50th out of 55 qualifiers. He has a good matchup against Giants tackle Evan Neal and should be able to disrupt the passing game. The Giants defense allows the 6th most fantasy points per game to running backs, which bodes well for Brian Robinson Jr. on Sunday. In every game this season in which he has had 12 or more touches, Robinson has scored 13 or more fantasy points. In each of the last 6 matchups between the Commanders and Giants in New York, the under has hit. Plus, the under has hit in 17 of the last 20 meetings between these two teams when the Giants have hosted. But the FPI likes Washington. 61% going with the Washington Commanders. I'm going with the Washington Commanders as well. 24-20, the Washington Commanders defeat the New York Giants. So with that, we move on to our next matchup. NFC South divisional matchup. The Atlanta Falcons squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Games on Fox. And on the call for that game will be Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Christina Pink. Chris Myers working with Adam Amin's crew because Adam Amin is working with Joe Davis's crew while Joe Davis continues his baseball playoff commitments. So Chris Myers will be sitting in with Mark Schlereth and Christina Pink for Atlanta and Tampa. And Tampa Bay opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Tampa Bay leads the all-time series regular season 30-29. 30-29. Keep that in mind, guys. 30-29. Tampa Bay won in Tampa Bay last year, 21-15. Matter of fact, Tampa Bay's won each of the last 3 meetings at home against Atlanta. Atlanta has not won in Tampa Bay since 2019, a 28-22 overtime win. So, Michael Bullock, we started with you at Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Now, let's not forget, there's a caveat here. New Orleans lost last night. So whoever wins this game is actually going to take over first place in the NFC South.
Yeah, this is a big game here. I mean, with whoever wins will get first place in the NFC South. So, yeah, I mean, it's been tough for Atlanta. I mean, and like you said, maybe Ritter's not the answer at quarterback for the Falcons. But the Buccaneers continue to deliver defensively here, so I got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this one and take over the NFC South lead. So it's yours, Florio.
Both teams are coming off losses, with Falcons quarterback Desmond Ridder throwing 3 interceptions against Washington last week, and in Tampa failing to force a turnover on defense or score a touchdown on offense for the first time this season against Detroit. But after the Saints lost last night, the winner of this NFC South matchup will end this week atop the division. Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans will have more than 75 yards and a touchdown. Evans has 10 touchdowns in 16 games against Atlanta in his career, and he will add another to his total Sunday after scoring in only 1 game, albeit 2 touchdowns. Over the last 6 times he has played against the Falcons. The Buccaneers +6 turnover margin is tied for 3rd best in the NFL this season, while the Falcons -6 turnover margin is tied for 5th worst, -8 over the last 3 games. Falcons safety Jesse Bates, the X factor is Falcons safety Jesse Bates III. With 3 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles, Bates has been an impact addition for Atlanta's defense. The Bucs passing game is much better than their ground game, so stopping Tampa Bay's aerial attack has to be the Falcons' defensive focus. The Buccaneers rank 2nd in the league with a 41% blitz rate. Ridder struggles under pressure, and the Falcons' offensive line ranks 24th in pass block win rate. This season, Ritter's completion percentage is only 52%, and his passer rating drops to 67.3 when under pressure. Falcons have failed to cover in 5 straight games, their longest streak since 2019. The last time they failed to cover in 6 consecutive games was in 2015 when they did so in 9 straight. It is also the longest active streak without covering among all teams. Slight favorite for Tampa Bay, 53% going with Tampa Bay. I'm going with Tampa Bay to win as well. Final score, 24-17. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Atlanta Falcons and take over first place in the NFC South. MF, who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, Tampa's been a good team. It's just there's been a couple of games where they've been really, really good, and then there's been games where they've been bad. Atlanta's same thing. So I kind of feel like Tampa will bounce back, and I think they'll win this game. And remember, Tampa was actually they were in first place earlier in the year until they ran into Philadelphia, and then Philly just stopped them, and it kind of caused a little bit of a sputtering, to say the very least. So yeah, nothing more to say. I do got Tampa winning. So Anthony, next game.
Well, we have a short docket this week, guys, because of the fact that 6 teams are on bye this week. The Carolina Panthers, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Texans, the New York Jets, and the Tennessee Titans all on bye. So there's only 6 early games on Sunday. If you can imagine that, only 6. That's something. But we're going to get into the first of 4 late games now. There's 2 4:05 games, 2 4:25 games. We start with the 4:05 games on Fox. First up, in the 4:05 window for Fox, we got a solid matchup here. The Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. You can find this game over on Fox. And on the call for this game will be Adam Amin, who's sitting in for Joe Davis. He's working with Joe Davis's crew. It'll be Adam Amin, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver. The Rams opening up as 3-point favorites. And the all-time series between these two, which, oh, by the way, includes a Super Bowl when these two teams met in Super Bowl 14. The all-time series favors the LA Rams. The Rams lead the all-time series 15-9 with 2 ties. One tie came in Cleveland in 1939, 14-14, and the other was 1949 in Pittsburgh, 7-7. Steelers have won the last 4 meetings in a row against the Rams, including the last one, 2019 in Pittsburgh, 17-12. Last time the Rams were the home team in this series, 2015, when they were the St. Louis Rams in the Edward Jones Dome, the Dome in America's Center. Pittsburgh also won that game 12-6. The Rams last beat the Steelers in 2003 in Pittsburgh, 33-21. They haven't beaten the Steelers as the LA Rams in LA since 1987, 31-21. But this is the first time these two teams are playing in Los Angeles since 1993. And the Rams also won that. And I'm sorry, the Rams won that game as well. 27-0. So actually it was 93. But anyways, let's get into this first late game matchup. The Steelers are averaging about 16 points a game this season, which ranks 30th in the NFL and is their second lowest mark through 5 games under their coach Mike Tomlin. Do they have a chance to right the ship in Los Angeles? The young Rams defense has shown promise, including a second half shutout against Arizona last week, but they rank 18th in the NFL in DVOA. Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick will get his first interception of the season. Down their top 2 running backs, the Rams will rely even more on their prolific passing offense, one that ranks 3rd in the league with 1,677 passing yards and is even more explosive with the return of receiver Cooper Kupp to complement rookie breakout Puka Nacua. Fitzpatrick hasn't been in position to make many plays on the ball this season, but Steelers defensive coordinator Terrell Austin credited the law of averages in explaining Fitzpatrick's lack of splash plays. The Steelers' offensive problems go well beyond gaining yards. as Pittsburgh's 29% red zone touchdown percentage this season is its worst through 5 games since 2001, when it was 20%. The X factor is Rams right tackle Rob Havenstein. The best units in this game are the Rams passing attack and the Steelers pass defense. The quickest way for Pittsburgh to win that battle is for Steelers edge rusher TJ Watt to get to Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. And Havenstein, who ranks only 44th out of 69 tackles in pass block win rate, 85%, will be the one charged with stopping TJ Watt. Rams rank 4th in yards per completion, 11.2, and 2nd in passing first downs per game, 13.7. Receivers Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua remain must starts. The Steelers' defense gives up the 4th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers. Mike Tomlin is 44-40 outright in his coaching career as an underdog. He is the only head coach in the Super Bowl era to have a winning record as an underdog among coaches who have been an underdog in more than 50 games. The Rams are the FPI favorite, 58%, going with the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams to win this game as well. 28-20, the LA Rams get by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So not much more to say here. MF, late window, Pittsburgh Steelers, LA Rams at SoFi, a cross-flex game over on Fox. Well, we have lost MF again. So, all right. We've lost MF for the moment. So I'm hopeful that he'll be back with us soon enough. Because we were going to get his thoughts on this Steelers-Rams matchup. So, Michael Bullock, while we wait for MF to come back, why don't you take this one for a spin?
Yeah, I'll definitely take it for a spin. I think this should be a good one here. But
we got MF. We got MF back.
All right.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought, Bullock. Finish your thought. I'll come from behind.
Okay.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. So
no, you're good.
Yeah. Like I was saying, the Rams continue to get better, especially with the returning Cooper Kupp and of course the emergence of Puka Nacua. So I think it's because of those factors there. I gotta go with the LA Rams to win this one. So Fletch, it's yours.
I totally agree. I think it is going to be the Rams too. There has been a lot of discussion about the offense of the Steelers. Are they good enough? Can they turn it around? Are they going to do whatever they need to do? And the thing is, I don't know if their offense is going to be good enough to get down that line that they need to get to. So at the end of the day, I'm in total agreement with you guys. I feel like this is their moment, and I do believe that when it's all said and done, yeah, I do got the Rams to win this game as well. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we move on to the other 405 game on Fox on Sunday. NFC West Division matchup, as it will be the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks from Lumen Field in Seattle on Fox. And it'll be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake on the call. And Seattle opening up as a 7-point favorite. And the all-time series between these two favors... Whoa, that went a little too far. Okay. Bear with me. There you go. Seattle leads the all-time series 25-22 with a tie. Seattle's won each of the last 3 meetings with Arizona, including a sweep last year. Seattle winning 19-9 against Arizona last year. Arizona last winning in Seattle the year before, 2021. That was a 23-13 final. So, MF, let's get your thoughts on Arizona and Seattle.
The way this game is set it up, a lot of people are going to say, well, Arizona may have a shot here. because of the fact of where they're at, what they're gonna do, the whole 9 yards, the setup, whatever you want to say. Unfortunately, I don't feel like Seattle is. I think they're kind of underappreciated here. And do I think Seattle is gonna win? Yes. I just feel like Arizona is one of those teams where they're gonna play a team tough. I just don't see them having that it factor, that killer instinct that's gonna get them over to the victory. So for me, I do believe that it's gonna be the Seattle Seahawks winning the game. So Michael Butlick, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I too have the Seattle Seahawks winning this one over Arizona. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right, guys, we move into the 425 games. There's two of those on CBS, and we start off with, unfortunately, the Zonk game of the week, as it will feature the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Denver Broncos from Empower Field at Mile High in Denver on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins will have the call for this one. And Green Bay opening up as only a 1-point favorite. Series history between these two, which includes another Super Bowl, Super Bowl 32, one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. But we go by regular season, and Green Bay leads the all-time series 7-6 with a tie. That tie came back in 1987. They played to a 17-17 tie in Milwaukee. Last meeting was 2019 in Lambeau in Green Bay. Green Bay won 27-16. Last meeting in Denver, 2015. Denver won going away 29-10. Green Bay has not won in Denver since 2007. A 1913 overtime win. That was on Monday Night Football. Brett Favre threw a bomb and that won the game for Green Bay. I remember that very vividly. So there isn't much more to say here. I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Michael Bullock, our Zonk game of the week, the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos in Denver. Green Bay only a 1-point favorite. This is damn near a pick'em game here.
Yeah, it's damn near a pick'em game, but yeah, this is a game that's I mean, it's not going to be good, but Green Bay is the better team when it comes to this one here. So I got to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this one. I mean, I can't go with Denver because they always seem to find a way to lose. So
Yeah.
I got to go with Green Bay to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Broncos coach Sean Payton has said a quality run game is in the team's DNA, but he has also said he needs to be more patient and actually call games that way. And that's something to keep an eye on, given the occasional leakiness of the Packers' run defense. The Broncos running backs had just 19 and 15 carries in losses to Kansas City and the New York Jets, respectively, over the last two games, despite having the number 3 run block win rate in the NFL, 74.2%. Packers are 28th in the league in rushing yards allowed per game and have allowed more than 200 yards on the ground twice already this season. The Packers will find the end zone on their first possession of the game, ending a 3-game streak of being held to 3 points or fewer in the first half. No Packers team has been held to 3 or fewer first half points in 4 straight games since December of 1990. And no NFL team has done that since 2021. Green Bay coach Matt LaFleur had a bye week to come up with something different for his opening script. And remember, this is a Denver team that has allowed 30 or more points in 3 games this season. Jordan Love has thrown 1 touchdown pass and 5 interceptions in his last 2 games, both Green Bay losses. He is the first Packer quarterback to throw multiple interceptions in back-to-back games since Brett Hundley in December of 2017. The last to throw multiple interceptions in 3 straight games, believe it or not, Hall of Famer Brett Favre in 2005. The X factor, Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. Wilson actually started solid this season, but his QBR has gone down each week, ending with just a 9.8 in last week's loss to Kansas City. He has to get back to early season form if Denver is going to have a chance. Wide receivers have scored the 9th fewest fantasy points a game against the Packer defense. Managers looking to start Russell Wilson at quarterback and Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton at wide receiver this week should temper their expectations. Based on the current spread, the Packers are favored for the first time this season. They were one of 5 teams that were not favored in the first 6 weeks, along with Indianapolis, Arizona, the New York Jets, and Carolina. FPI likes Green Bay, 57% going with Green Bay. I'm going with Green Bay. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a closer game than expected, but I got to go with Green Bay, though. 26-24, Green Bay barely gets by Denver. So, MF, your thoughts on the Zonk game of the week, Green Bay and Denver?
I disagree with your score line altogether, Florio. There's no way it's going to be that score line. No way. I do agree. Denver is just a complete and utter mess. I don't got anything good to say about the Denver Broncos, to be real honest with you. I just feel like they will lose this game, and yeah, I got Green Bay winning. But I believe it'll be like a 23-17 type score. So that's my score. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And the other 425 game on CBS, it's the bigger of the games here. This game came in as our number 4 game of the week. AFC West divisional matchup. The Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be on the call for that one. Kansas City opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. First meeting between these two teams. Kansas City leads the all-time series 67-57 with a tie. Kansas City has won each of the last 3 meetings against the Chargers. 27-24, Kansas City winning in Kansas City last year. Chargers' last win in Kansas City was 2021, 30-24. So just bear with me for a moment here. Oh, went the wrong way. Okay. I believe 3. Just give me 1 second here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I believe I start this. So, all right. So I just wanted to be sure I had the order right. Okay, it goes to me. Okay. Expect another close game decided by less than a touchdown because that's what this rivalry has become. 5 of the last 6 games between the Chiefs and Chargers have been decided by 6 points or fewer, with 2 ending in overtime. The outlier was a 38-21 blowout win for the Chargers in the final game of the 2020 season when the Chiefs rested their key players after securing the number 1 seed. All 5 of LA's games this season have been decided by 7 points or fewer, and it would be an upset if this game deviated from the recent Chiefs-Chargers pattern. Kansas City will sack quarterback Justin Herbert at least 3 times. Herbert and the Chargers offense haven't looked like themselves their last 2 games, starting with a Week 4 matchup against Las Vegas that included career lows in completions and passing yards for Herbert, along with a fractured left finger. According to NFL Next Gen stats, Dallas pressured Herbert on almost 48% of his dropbacks last Monday night, the highest rate of pressure he has faced this season. Kansas City's defense is 12th in the league with 17 sacks and could take advantage of a struggling offensive line and an injured quarterback. Arguably, no 2 quarterbacks have been better on the move or when pressured since the start of the 2020 season than Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. They both rank top 5 in QBR under pressure, outside the pocket, and when blitzed over that span. The X factor, it's basically the Chiefs receiving core. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Rashee Rice, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mecole Hardman, and Justin Ross. Mahomes just needs one of these guys to step up as a second receiving option behind tight end Travis Kelce to kick the Kansas City offense into gear. Chargers secondary has issues, allowing the most passing yards per game in the NFL. Chargers defense also leads the league in 3rd down penalties, which is good news for fantasy managers who have Chiefs in their fantasy lineups. This is Patrick Mahomes' 53rd home start, including playoffs, and the 52nd in which the Chiefs were favored. The lone exception came last season in a loss to my Buffalo Bills. Kansas City the FPI favorite, 69%. Going with Kansas City. I'm going with Kansas City. Close game, high scoring game. 31-27. Kansas City defeats the Chargers. And MF, all I can say is you and I know this better than anybody. Chargers and Chiefs, every time they get together, you know it's gonna be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic.
Yeah, because of the fact that we've seen so many different games and so many different situations, no doubt. It's going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a good one. So, yeah, really nothing more to say. I do have Kansas City winning as well. There's really nothing more to add. Look, the Chargers is going to make a game out of it. They're going to bring it all the way down to the wire. It's going to be an exciting end to the game. But I'm with you guys. I feel like this is going to be a situation, and it is what it is. So, yeah, give me the Charger. Give me Kansas City to win it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Kansas City, I got to go with them. Look, the Chargers, I would not be surprised if they make a game of it here. But in the end, I think Kansas City is going to somehow eke out and win this game. So nothing more to say. I got Kansas City winning. It's yours, Florio.
All right, gentlemen, are you ready for the game of the week? You ready for the main event? Here we go, boys. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Our game of the week. 8:20 kickoff, NBC. Good old MF's team, the Miami Dolphins, with their toughest test, other than Buffalo, of course. Their next big toughest test, squaring off against the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Sunday Night Football on NBC. You already know who's working it. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. Philadelphia opening up as a 1.5-point favorite. Miami, however, leads the all-time series 9-6, and the Dolphins have won the last 2 meetings against Philadelphia. Their last meeting was 2019 in Miami. Miami won a wild one, 37-31 at the Hard Rock. Last meeting in Philadelphia, 2015. Believe it or not, Miami actually won, 20-19. Philly's last win against Miami at home was in 2007, 17-7. That infamous 2007 Dolphin team that we don't talk about. MF says you talk about them, watch out. But that's of course the worst of all time. But we're far from that. That's well beyond the past now. But nonetheless, MF, it's only fitting you started off. I mean, the game of the week. What else is there to say? The main event right here. Possible Super Bowl preview. We could see these two teams in Las Vegas come next February. There's a very realistic chance we could. You never know. But because of our baseball playoff commitments, this will not be our game of the week. Our number 2 crew will be taking over. But MF, we're gonna do it like it was our game anyway. Miami, Philly, game of the week. As the Phil Simms to my Jim Nance. May not be our game, but who the hell cares? Do that thing I like anyway. Hello, friends.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any bigger than this one. For the longest time, everybody was saying how Miami's high explosive offense, is there a way to stop this team? Well, did Buffalo provide a blueprint for how to handle the Miami Dolphins offense? We'll find out on Sunday night. Did the New York Jets maybe provide a blueprint for the Dolphins to handle the offense of the Philadelphia Eagles? We'll find out on Sunday night. So, obviously, the only report that we've got is that Jalen Ramsey will not be going for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, he still is dealing with an injury. There were 2 notable injuries for the Philadelphia Eagles where they're not going to have starters. So As far as the rest goes, we'll wait and see how it goes for the rest of the week. But apparently, a few of the guys are going to be good to go. So we'll see how it plays out. One thing is for sure, though. If for some reason this does turn, obviously a lot of people are picking Philadelphia to win. They feel like, that after the embarrassing loss that they suffered about a week ago, that's going to turn this game around and that this is going to open the door for them to come back and to reestablish themselves. I don't know for sure, guys, because of the fact that Miami's offense is so lethal and so powerful that if this baby turns into a track meet, is it possible Miami outpaces the Philadelphia Eagles and wins? We'll wait and see. But one thing is for sure, the way the game has been going, obviously my heart and my head says Miami wins. But I gotta take the fan out of this. And I gotta be the professional here. Philly, I think it's going to sneak and eke out a win 31-28 over Miami. But I would not be stunned or surprised if the Miami Dolphins wins this game and solidifies themselves as a Super Bowl contender to the rest of the NFL. Everybody's been saying that yes, Miami is good, but they haven't taken that next step. If they beat the Eagles, that's the next step. And then will you finally give the respect that we sorely deserve? Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, what can you say? I mean, this is a big game here. I mean, when you got these two teams going at it, and man, I mean, I'm interested to see how this defense of Philadelphia attacks the Miami Dolphins offense, which really seems to be unstoppable. But what does the defense of Miami does against the Philadelphia offense? So it's very intriguing. I cannot wait to see how this goes down. But I gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's gonna be a close one. It's high scoring, but I got the Eagles winning this one 30-27. So it's yours, Florio.
Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts, former teammates and competitors in the Alabama quarterback room, square off for the first time at the professional level. They steward the top two offenses in the NFL in yards per game. Miami at 498.7 yards per game, Philadelphia at an even 395. This matchup will also feature the NFL's top two rushing teams. Miami at 181.8 rushing yards a game, Philadelphia at an even 150. Miami's defense will score a touchdown. The Dolphins' 3-game drought without forcing a turnover will end Sunday night. Jalen Hurts has already surpassed his interception total from last season, 7, and he and the Eagles are coming off a 4-turnover game last week. A big factor in Miami's success is its volume and effectiveness with motion at the snap. The Dolphins have a player in motion at the snap on 60% of their plays, the highest rate by any team since ESPN began tracking motion in 2017. Miami has excelled on these plays as well, leading the NFL in yards per play and yards per rush. But the Eagles' defense has defended motion at the snap well, ranking second in yards per play when motion is involved. The X factor, Dolphins defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. We're still waiting for the MF is still waiting for the talent of the Miami defense to yield results. But Wilkins is making an impact rushing the passer. In addition to his 3.5 sacks, Wilkins ranks 4th in pass rush win rate at defensive tackle. Wide receivers have scored the 6th most fantasy points per game against the Eagles secondary. The Dolphins offense has been epic through the first 6 weeks of the season. Start all Miami players, including Tua Tagovailoa, who leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns. Eagles are 12-1 in games played in September and October the last 2 seasons, the best record in the NFL over that span. The only loss was last week against the New York Jets. The FPI likes Miami in this one, guys. 59% going with the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. My selfish wish as a Buffalo Bills fan is to hope that not only Buffalo takes care of business in Foxborough, but my real selfish wish would be for Philadelphia to beat Miami. Because if both of those things happen, Buffalo would temporarily take back over first place in the AFC East. Because Buffalo has the tiebreaker when Buffalo smashed Miami. Yes, we smashed you boys a few weeks ago. But I want it. Trust me, I do. But I'm going to be honest with you. I actually like Miami in this game. I got this feeling about the Dolphins. I just have this feeling. I mean, would I be surprised if Philadelphia won? No, not at all, because Philly's a great team. But after what happened last week against the Jets, when they let that game get away, I don't know. And considering how lights out Miami's offense has been, I can't go against them. I want to go against them, but I can't. 35-30, the Miami Dolphins defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though I want Philly to win, of course. But anyways, let's move on to the final game of the week. It is Monday Night Football on ESPN. A matchup of the San Francisco 49ers squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings from US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. You know who's working that as always. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters. The Manning brothers on ESPN2 for those of you who enjoy their show. You can watch them there too. San Francisco opening up as a 7-point favorite. Minnesota, however, leads the all-time series 22-20 with a tie. That one tie came in 1966 in San Francisco, 2020. Their last meeting was 2021 in San Francisco. San Francisco won 34-26. Before that, they met in the divisional playoff, January of 2020. San Francisco won 27-10. Last meeting in Minnesota was 2018. Minnesota won 24-16. San Francisco has not won. Wow, it's actually been a long time since San Francisco has won in Minnesota. You guys got to go all the way back. Is this right? Wow, 1992. The last time San Francisco won in Minnesota. We're talking about the Metrodome, boys. 20-17, back when they had Young, Rice, and all of them. So that's the story here. So, Michael Bullock, you started off on our final game of the week, Monday Night Football. San Francisco 49ers coming off their first loss of the season and a demoralizing first loss of the season at Cleveland, where they lost Trent Williams, they lost Christian McCaffrey, they lost Deebo Samuel. No word on the status of any of them unless either of you guys have it. But what we do know is that Minnesota will once again be without Justin Jefferson. He's on IR. So Michael Bullock started off with our final game of the week, Monday Night Football, San Francisco and Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco, like you said, coming off of a tough loss to the Cleveland Browns. I mean, like you said, losing some of their key players. But, yeah, Minnesota, of course, the win over Chicago. So, but you know what? I think this is going to be a bounce-back game for San Fran. I do see them bouncing back and winning this one. So I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
There will be plenty of focus on 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, who leads the NFL in QBR. But the matchup that will dictate whether this game is close will involve the 49ers defense, which is allowing an NFL low 14.5 points a game. In their first game without injured receiver Justin Jefferson, the Vikings scored 12 offensive points and managed 4 yards of play last week against Chicago's poorest defense, both season lows. Purdy will follow his worst professional game by throwing for 3 touchdown passes and more than 275 yards. The Vikings blitz at by far the highest rate in the league, 57% of dropbacks. But Purdy has repeatedly proved capable of making opponents pay for that aggressive approach. Since the start of last season, Purdy has a QBR of 81 against the blitz, which ranks 4th in the NFL, combined with his 8-0 touchdown to interception ratio in prime time. The recipe for a big bounce back is there for Brock Purdy. The 49ers have not lost the turnover battle in 16 straight games, the longest streak since Michael Bullock's New England Patriots did so in 21 straight games across the 2011-2012 seasons. The X factor is Vikings right tackle Brian O'Neill. He'll be charged with stopping 49ers defensive end Nick Bosa, but O'Neill might be up to the challenge. He's playing great in pass protection, ranking 2nd in pass block win rate, 95% among tackles. The Vikings need a lot to go right to beat the 49ers, and holding off Nick Bosa is a big one. Against the Browns last week, 49ers receivers were faced with man coverage on around 70% of snaps. That, plus losing running back Christian McCaffrey and receiver Deebo Samuel to mid-game injuries, caused Brock Purdy to score a season-low 7.7 fantasy points. The Vikings have not been a home underdog of 7 or more points since 2014. They and Kansas City are the only teams to not be such an underdog in the last 9 seasons. FPI loves San Francisco. 70% going with San Francisco. I'm going with San Francisco. Closer game than expected. I'm going to go 26-20. San Francisco gets by Minnesota. So MF, take it home.
Yeah, no, totally agreement here. Look, San Fran is a really good team. But the injuries was the thing that kind of caught up to them. If it wasn't for the injuries, I don't know if we have a situation here where everything goes a little different. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the 49ers. They're still the best team in the NFL. They're still the Super Bowl contender that we know that they are. So at the end of the day, I'll go there and I'll say San Fran wins. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, let's call it a night.
All right, MF will do. That will indeed put the bow on this Week 7 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back tomorrow night, 10:30 over on, it's 10:30, right, MF, tomorrow night? All right.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. All right. 10:30 tomorrow night. MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk. We got Friday Night SmackDown. We've got AEW Collision. By the way, AEW Collision. Did you hear about the dream match that Tony Khan leaked out tonight? Bryan Danielson versus Andrade El Idolo. Are you kidding me? Whoa. Show stealer. No question about it. So we'll get into both of those tomorrow night. And then Monday night, we do it all again. Ridiculously Raw. 11 p.m. Right here on the Tone 25. Monday Night Raw, as always. And, of course, I will have an exclusive review of Impact Wrestling's biggest event of the year, Bound for Glory. That goes down tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we have the Wednesday Night Madness hosted by MF over on Braves Fan 95. That's at 10 p.m. Following Dynamite, as we will review NXT, we'll review AEW Dynamite, and we'll be previewing a very intriguing Thursday night football game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and my Buffalo Bills. So that game just got a lot more interesting. And Thursday night, of course, we got college football Thursday, week 9 edition of that. And then next Friday night, it's the week 8 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. Notable games that we'll be getting into next week. First of all, no buys. Full slate next week. We'll recap Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Notable games next week. The Los Angeles Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. We have the New Orleans Saints going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Only for Buddy Bowl purposes, the New England Patriots against the Miami Dolphins. Jacksonville Jaguars against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Atlanta Falcons against the Tennessee Titans. Philadelphia Eagles against the Washington Commanders. Cleveland Browns against the Seattle Seahawks. And, of course, what could be the game of the week next week, the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the San Francisco 49ers. And a very intriguing sleeper matchup, if there ever was one, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Detroit Lions. just to name a few of the games we'll be getting into next week. We'll be getting into all of them, of course, but those are the games that we'll get into on this show next week. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Braceman 95, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and of course, always and forever, the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday, and until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk you've been watching, the Week 7 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.